go into that. Hello and welcome to this first ever episode of of Q&A with the Hombre. Excited to talk to you guys and to let you know that I'm here to answer your questions. You guys can hear me now, right? I had it on mute. I'm still learning the software, so there'll probably some bugs here going on, but it's okay. I got it fixed now. You guys should be able to hear me now. I'm here to answer questions. If you guys have questions about me and my experience, let me know. We've got some people I know from commenting on the channel. We have Oklahoman. Hello from Oklahoma. I see you there all the time commenting. I always respond to you too. We got Bernie here. Bernie's joining us today. Hi, Bernie from Washington State. We got Roscoe says, okay, it's taken a few sips for me to warm up to El Tesoro Blanco, but now I'm really enjoying it, not as much as I love Cascouine. Awesome. Well, yeah, El Tesoro Blanco is a good one. I enjoy it as well. Carlos Camarena does a really good job with El Tesoro, and the pricing on it here in California is actually very reasonable. It's easy to find, and I use it actually as my mixer for when I do margaritas and palomas and stuff. All right, so you guys have any questions or anything you want to know, let me know. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I know you've probably seen me mention it in some of my videos, the Tequila Barrel Collective. I'll give you some more information about that. Now, what this basically is it's a group that I formed originally to bring some of these barrel buys that were originally available only for retail stores, and I started picking barrels, and then basically we split it among the group. People can opt in and out for whatever barrel they want, and then I arranged the purchase through a licensed retailer, and then you guys can come in and purchase it. I don't make any money on it, but they're special buys, and so you'll see I've got some really special stuff lined up. I know you've seen the review for the Cascanes Extra Añejo. That one is really special. We're going to be the only people getting it in the country, or in the world actually. So that's an amazing opportunity. All right, we got some questions coming on. We have Dion Brady from St. Louis. Welcome. Glad to see you. Shout out from South Texas from Robert. Thanks for joining us today, Robert. We got, all right, so what's my everyday sipper and what type? Well, as you can see, I've got a huge selection, so I don't really have an everyday sipper. It all depends on what I'm in the mood for. If I'm in the mood for a Blanco, I'll grab a Blanco. If I'm in the mood for Repo, I'll grab a Repo. If I feel like an Extra Añejo, I'll grab an Extra Añejo. So I just kind of do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo amongst the choices I have here on whatever I'm in the mood for. So I really don't have an everyday sipper or a type that's an everyday sipper. I like Lalo. I like Lalo for shots and Patron for cocktails. Well, great. You should try sipping Lalo. It is really good. Sipper, just put it in a glass and just take small sips of it. Enjoy it. It's a really nice Blanco. What do we have here? Mark, I wonder when you'll be making a review of Alchema Expressions. Well, as soon as I get some, right now on a limited budget, because my regular job is on hiatus due to COVID-19. And so the finances are a little bit low, and Alchemia has a tendency of being on the pricier side. So if they send me a bottle, I'll review it faster. But until I can afford to start going out and buying more stuff, purchasing expensive stuff for reviews is on hold right now. Not to mention that if you guys want to support the channel, I do love when people want to support the channel. If you notice on the chat, there is a $sign below where you can purchase a super chat where your comment, your question will stand out amongst everything else. You can pick how much you'd like to donate, and then those proceeds actually help fund the stuff that I do here on the channel, as well as the Tequila Barrel Collective. I use all that money for funding projects and stuff that I'm working on. What is this? I was really disappointed with the Fortaleza Repo. I'm the only one who doesn't get it. Well, everybody has different tastes, and that's completely fine. Different flavor profiles appeal to different people. So don't feel like, you know, you're an outlier because you don't like Fortaleza Repo. You're not the only one. I've seen other people that said that they don't enjoy it, which it's perfectly fine. So don't worry about that. So let me see. We have Hombre, way to go. I love tequila. I saw those reviews. Always a great job. Well, thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys watching and commenting and liking the videos and participating. What's this one here? What's the tequila that hit the mark where Clase Azul missed the mark? Well, in my opinion, Clase Azul missed the mark on a lot of things because of the additives. So if you're looking for, you know, something on the sweeter side, extra añejo, where it's not as expensive as Clase Azul is, I have a tendency of leaning more towards the San Matias Gran Reserva extra añejo, where you can pick that up for somewhere between $40 to $55. It's a fantastic extra añejo. It's all natural. I even did the test on it to make sure. But I've been to Casa San Matias. They're like my second family in Mexico. Every time I go, I spend time with them at the distillery, and we bought five barrels from them for the Tequila Barrel Collective. We had two Raysol 10-year aged extra añejos. We did a Casa San Matias Gran Reserva barrel select, and we did two Corazon barrel selects. So we did a Eagle Rare, a Repo, and we did a Blanton's añejo. And so I know them really well. I'm good friends with them. And when they tell me, hey, Mark, we would never use additives, I believe them. So when you hear people say that they think there's additives in Casa San Matias Gran Reserva, I can assure you there isn't. All right, what's this? What's maximum to pay for Fortaleza Winter Blend? Oh, that's an interesting question. I know that some of the prices on it are getting pretty crazy because retailers are finding out what it's worth. And hey, guys, just so you know, retailers are jumping into these Facebook groups now. And I've been talking to some of them, and they're like, well, we saw in the Facebook group, you know, whatever Facebook group, how special this thing is, how much people want it. So we're only getting 4 bottles or a case of 6 bottles of it or 2 bottles of it, however much they were allotted by the distributor. So they're selling it for a premium. And, you know, that's what's happening out there right now. The most I would probably pay for it, I got mine for like $99, which I think is fine. So that would be the most I'd pay for it, because I have somebody that would hook me up for $99 for it. I know that was even higher on the higher side, but I think the retail price they were trying to sell it for is $179. So I wouldn't pay $179 for it, because that's just too much. Any new ones to be on the lookout for? Well, I do have one that I teased in my Tequila Talk group, a budget brand that I'm going to be shooting the video for immediately following this. You guys got to check the video out tomorrow. This is going to be really good, and I'm actually setting up an opportunity for viewers to purchase this, and I'll go through all the details in the video, so make sure you check out the budget brand video I'm going to post tomorrow. I'm going to shoot it immediately following this question and answer session. It's going to be really good. People have been trying to guess in the group on what it is, but it's nothing that anybody's guessed. It's going to be really good, and I know you guys, the ones that purchase it, will enjoy it. Again, when I set these things up, I don't make any money on these things. I'm just doing it because, number one, I really enjoy the tequila. I've had it before, and I was never able to get it, and I was able to connect with the importer, and now the importer set up a retailer that has it here in the U.S. now, so we'll be able to get it, which is great for me, and that's all I'm looking for, is a place where I can order this when I want it. All right, so what do we got here? Jason Slater, hi Jason, how you doing? Glad you could join us to see all the time on Tequila Talk. Glad to have you join us today. Oklahomans asking all the questions. Do you recommend going to Guadalajara, then over to the town of Tequila? Any decent hotels in Tequila? Explain your experience in the town of Tequila. I want to go. Okay, well, I've been to the town of Tequila, but and it's great. I love the town of Tequila. It's very quaint. It's beautiful. There are lots of nice art, and it's historic. I love the town of Tequila. But when I go to Tequila, I don't actually stay in Tequila. I actually stay in Guadalajara, and the reason being is because the Los Altos, the highlands like Orandas and such, are about 2.5 hours up the hill of a drive. So I stay in the financial district of Guadalajara. So then also it's a short trip to go into Tlaquepaque if I want to have drinks with Grover and with his wife, or if I want to go to El Bujo, Scarlet with Grover and Scarlet, or if I want to go to El Bujo and pick up some tequila in that store. If you had never been to El Bujo, crazy store, like tequila like crazy all over the place. You could easily drop lots of money in there, and the prices there are Mexican prices, which are good prices. You get some really good deals on some stuff there. What is this? I guess I'll slip a shot with you. Okay. You can sip a shot. That's fine. All right. Emilio. Yeah. They do a great job. El Bujo's great. He's got a lot of really nice, and he's got a tasting area. So if you want to taste something before you buy it, you can actually pour a little bit and have a taste of it and see if it's something you like before you buy it. What else do we got here? Oklahoma. I want to visit Cascoin, El Tesoro, and Siete Leguas. Okay, well, El Tesoro and Siete Leguas are up in the Los Altos, so that's a 2.5 hour drive up there. Siete Leguas is great place to visit. They don't really accept tours though, so getting in there is hard unless you know somebody or are going with a large group. El Tesoro is at La Alteña. That's Carlos Camarena's place. He's got a beautiful distillery there, and Felipe is like within rocks throwing distance over at El Pendillo from La Alteña. So when you're up there, you can actually hit quite a few different distilleries up in the highlands and kind of make that a day trip. Or if you stay in a hotel up in the highlands, you can visit for a few there's a lot of distilleries up there that are worth visiting. You can make a couple days up there and then come back down and spend a couple days in Tequila. Excuse me. But it's a beautiful area. I love going there. I'm going to be planning a trip there in 2021 because I do have some barrel stuff I need to organize for the Tequila Barrel Collective. So, ever thought about tequila sponsors or going to cities to hold a dinner? Yeah, I've actually thought about that. I've had people talk to me about that. Right now, we can't do it because of COVID. I did have done some work for G4 previously where they've contacted me because they didn't want to drive up 4 hours to get to where the margarita festivals and stuff were. So they asked me to come up and pour G4 and do some tequila education, which I did. All right, what else do we got? I guess I'll sip a shot. And okay, we get questions coming in here. So more about the collective, and if you guys have seen some of the stuff we've done, it's really great. If you haven't joined it, go to tequilabarrelcollective.com and then join. It's free. You get on the email list, and then you'll get notifications of the projects that I'm working on, and I'll ask you whether you're interested in participating. And it's a really we got some really good projects going on. I'm drinking some water right now because I'm doing the review after this. All right, what is this? Jason says, I am up north for out of town trip. They have Hacienda Vieja up here, which I don't have around my area. Should I get that or the Nosotros you did a review on? Okay, well, Hacienda Vieja is actually not a bad budget brand. I don't mind that at all. So if you've never had it before, don't be afraid to pick it up. It's actually tasty. It's not bad. The Nosotros I did the review on, I did the Blanco, and I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It wasn't bad at all. So either of those is a good choice. I think the Hacienda Vieja is probably going to be less expensive for you. So if you're looking more for budget stuff, as far as a solid budget brand, Hacienda Vieja is good. Okay, Grandaveo Blanco, your opinion? Gracias for your help. Hi, Steve Stone. I love Grandaveo. I think it's a really nice. I like the high proof Blanco. It's really good. Sergio Cruz does a very good job on the tequilas out of 1414, and he does a really good job with Grandaveo. So if you see it, we're thinking about picking it up. Don't be afraid. I've done a review on it. It's on the channel, so you can actually search it on the channel for Grandaveo high proof, and you'll see my review for that. All right, so awesome job you do explaining all the tequila details. What kind of additives can we find in tequila? Vanilla, spices? Well, that's a very good question. There's actually four main what they call calming additives that they can use to start. There's glycerin, there's simple syrup, there's agave, there's simple syrup, there's glycerin, there's oak extract, and what's the last one? I don't remember. But then there's also flavoring additives that they can use. So yeah, a lot of times when you taste something and it's really sweet and creamy, most of the time it's got glycerin in it, and they'll put vanilla and caramel flavoring in it. There is actually an artificial agave flavoring as well that they can put in it. And these flavorings are really high concentration flavorings, so they don't need a lot to really influence the taste of the tequila. So you can find all kinds of stuff like that as far as additives go. The one that, you know, my tests, when I do my additive tests on the videos, those really look for the calming additives. And by calming, it means it makes it like, you know, so it's not as harsh and easier to drink, you know, or makes it, you know, as people like to say, smooth. I hate the word smooth. It's like every time I hear the word smooth, or I say the word smooth, I think like the tequila police are going to come and it's going to be like,
we heard what you said. This is the tequila police. Do not use the word smooth.
So then I have to stop. So, all right. Are there any, all right. So, Ubaldo Navarro wants to know, are there any foods that pair well with tequila? Yeah. All kinds of food. I like tacos. I mean, tacos and tequila are like, it's a match made in heaven, but there's all kinds of stuff. When I was in Mexico, in Guadalajara, one of my hosts from Casa San Matias, a friend of mine, we went and we had carne su jugo, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed sipping a nice reposado with that. So, and you know, of course, some cerveza on the side. But there's and all kinds of Mexican enchiladas are good with tequila. But I'm really a big taco person, so I enjoy, if I'm gonna have food with tequila, I normally enjoy tacos. But I'll drink tequila when we go out for sushi. I'll have tequila when we go out for teppanyaki. I'll have tequila. I mean, it all depends on what their tequila selection's like and if they have anything worth buying. All right, so Vizak, anybody know a better liquor store than Binny's in Chicago? I'm not from Chicago, so I don't know any better store than Binny's. I've heard good things about Binny's, so we'll see if anybody comments on that for you. Do you smoke cigars with your tequila? I love Cuban Cohiba, Partiga, Romeo and Juliet's, and H. Upman. I do occasionally will enjoy a good cigar with my tequila. I love doing cigars with extra añejos because it's got that more bolder flavor profile. I do have some Romeo and Julieta. What do I have? It's the I'm drawing a blank on the name of them. I like Connecticut shade wrappers. So mine are typically all Connecticut shade wrap cigars. But I do enjoy a good cigar. I had, what were they called? The Romeo and Juliet Capulets. Those are really good. I like Hoya de Monterey Excaliburs. I like Patron Anniversarios. I have a bunch that I have. I have a huge refrigerator humidor here on the side of my tequila desk that I store a bunch of cigars in. But I have to go outside and smoke them. And then I have to, when I come in, take a shower when I come in, because otherwise it's...
You need to take a shower because you stink.
And I, don't like dealing with that. So, all right. Let me see some other questions here. We can find my mouse here. Do people trade tequilas in your Facebook? I know people would. This is in your blue. Okay, no, we do not allow trading tequila in Tequila Talk, our Facebook group. We don't allow selling. We don't allow trading. We don't allow anything because it's illegal. And Facebook will shut your group down if you're caught doing it. So we do not allow any trading or anything. And if you guys aren't a member, if you're on Facebook but aren't a member of the Tequila Talk Facebook group, come in and check it out. You guys have full access to me. I'm in there all the time answering questions and posting stuff and posting information that I get from a bunch of the producers that I'm friends with. And it's really nice. We don't insult you if you like some of the sweeter tequilas or if you like the Hornitas or something. We have strict rules against insulting people, but we try more to be educational and to get people to try some of the more naturally made tequilas. It's a really great group. Everyone that's in it loves it and talks highly about it. We've got over 4,000 members, so it's a fun group. So if you're not a member of the Tequila Talk group on Facebook and you're on Facebook, come check it out. It's great. Okay, Oklahoman likes cigars and Blancos. They're our favorite. Awesome. Blancos, I love Blancos too, but I love to pick up the soft nuances in a Blanco, and I think a cigar buries that. So I like to go more the extra añejo, so you get the vanilla and the chocolate and the oak coming through, along with the earthy taste and such of a good cigar. A nice simple Blanco with sashimi is fit. Absolutely, I agree. I love sushi with a nice Blanco. I agree with you 100%. B-Bum. And Lalo, I keep going into my gringo English. Lalo is a fantastic Blanco. It's probably my most favorite 40% Blanco. I love it. And G4 is one of my more favorite brands, as you guys know from watching my videos. Fajita tacos with pico de gallo and hot sauce and avocado. Oh, yeah. There you go. I'm coming over to Robert's house for dinner. All right, what do we got? Do you have Diablito from 123? And if you do, when will you be seeing that? I do have it. And I got to do the number 3 as well. I've done the 1, 2, and I got 3, and I got the Diablito, and those are in the works. So we should be seeing those coming up soon. David Ravandi is actually a friend of mine. He's in our group as well. I message and talk with him a lot, and he's been saying, hey, you need to get the Diablito done. He told me the whole story, so it's got a really interesting story behind it. So I'll get that one on the calendar soon. I've got it coming up, as well as the number 3. So we'll try to get the añejo done before we jump into the Diablito. Any word on Fortaleza Añejo? Was it ever released? Yeah, the Fortaleza Añejo has been out forever. Yeah, it's... you can get the Fortaleza Añejo in the store right now. All right, hope all's well. I used to like Centenario, but then what happened is they always said that they never used the diffuser for it. But then they accidentally leaked that they do blend it with diffused jive, and you can totally tell in the flavor profile of it now. It's gotten where it doesn't taste as good as it used to. So I used to like the Centenario Añejo and used to buy it because it was a really good deal. It was around $30. The price has actually dropped on it too, but it's got a really funky taste to it. You can tell that they do use diffuser jive in it now. So I stay away from the Centenario now. The Fortaleza Extra Añejo. Well, it's the Extra Añejo. From anybody that I've ever talked to at Fortaleza, it it was just being served at the distillery. And then the lot 4243 thing happened, where they took the extra añejo and blended in with the añejo to create a bigger batch because they were running short on añejo, and they grabbed the wrong barrel. So all the extra añejo, from what I understand, is in there. I don't have any details as to whether they're going to have any more, but when they did have it originally, it was at the distillery. But I actually talked to Guillermo. I spent some time talking to him when I went to the distillery, and I asked him about if we could do a special project for the Tequila Barrel Collective, and he said that right now his añejo barrels, as soon as he puts tequila in them, they're sold. So he doesn't have time to put barrels aside to age the extra time for an añejo or not. So I don't know if things have changed since I talked to him last or what, but all I can say is that we just have to wait and see if it ever comes up. All right, so let's just salute. Hi, Robert. Mark, will the budget brand buy be a first come, first serve that could be missed if you don't watch your video as soon as it's released tomorrow? They should have enough to cover everybody. And then hopefully we can get more stores to pick it up. The importer, it's a really fantastic brand, and the importer just kind of sat on it, which sometimes happens, where you can have a brand come in and they don't really push it that much, and it just sits, and that's what basically has happened with this. And I'm glad that I found out who the importer was of it, and I'll tell you the whole story when I do the video later today. But yeah, you should be plenty where you can get some if you want some. All right, let me see. I agree, Centenario. Centenario is not what it used to be. It is very unfortunate. All right, what do we got here? We got, I picked up a bottle of Volan's Blanco on recommendation. What is your impression of this tequila? I like Volan's. I like it. It's everything Felipe makes is great. As far as where it sits in my preference on El Pandillo brands, I like it the least of all of his brands. So I would put, G4 is my favorite. I'd put Pasote second. I really like Teralta a lot for the minerality. It's got a strong bite to it. And then I put Volan's below that. So I like the Teralta 110 Blanco. I have that on the shelf. I like the 110 Extra Neo. Those are really robust flavor profiles in that. G4, I've got the whole line. I've got everything G4. You can see all the bottles right here. And then down here, I've got like a bunch of extra bottles. I got the 5-year, I got the 55-month, I got the 108 proof G4 Blanco. I got everything loaded up as far as G4 goes, because that is my favorite brand. And that's one of the reasons why G4 hired me to work those 2 events for him here in Southern California. And I haven't done anything for him since, but I do love the tequila. It is one of my favorite brands. Volan's is very limited distribution. It's true, it is, and it is made partnership with a high-end fly fishing ranch. That's true. You can find it via mail order. That is true. You can find it. There's like one website that sells it exclusively right now, and they talked about getting some distribution on it. And Felipe said in my live stream, if you haven't watched it, he said they're 25% owners in it. Where it's not like Pasote, where 3 Badge Mixology owns all of Pasote, and he just is contract distilling that for him. I love Espinita Añejo. Any recommendations of a similar tasting Añejo? Espinito is a solid Añejo, especially for the price. I love Espinita. Watch my review tomorrow, and tell me what you think when you hear what the taste profile is like, and comment below. Let me know what you think. Okay. What is it? This next one, Centenario Reposado, is decent mixer if you can find it for some. Yeah, for mixers, you're burying it below a bunch of other stuff. I don't typically mix a whole lot, but when I do, I really like my mixers to be of good quality. And we've get El Tesoro out here for $34. So I'll pick up a bottle of El Tesoro, and they sell the Repo and the Blanco for $34.95, and then I think the Añejo is like $39.99. And so I'll pick those up for mixers versus buying something less. But I do have Altos. I do have Espolón. I've got, some other ones like that. I just, don't want to put money in to support somebody that's not putting the effort in to really make the tequila good. Instead, they're just trying to make it cheap. Can or do you cook with tequila? Any recipes? I don't cook with tequila. No. I do cook tequila to check for additives, and that's pretty much the extent of it. But I don't cook with tequila. I'm sure my wife, when she's made recipes, has put some tequila and stuff, but I don't. By the way, I think fishing and tequila adventure to Three Rivers Ranch would be a fantastic. I think so too. Maybe we should put one together. What do you think? I love fishing, except I'm more of a deep sea fishing. I go tuna, I go dorado and yellowtail fishing out in Mexican waters a lot. And I love doing that on long range fishing boats. This may be your thing, but cannabis and Fortaleza are wonderful together. Lots of flavors. That's good. No, cannabis really isn't my thing, but I'm glad you enjoy it. And thanks for sharing. All right. Cooking with tequila, I often saute shrimp or poach salmon in tequila with some lime and agave nectar. Excellent result. There you go. That sounds fantastic. That's when I come over, you can cook some for me sometime, okay? Wiggy nothing like some reposado with some white bubblegum gelato. Ooh, that does sound interesting. Okay, guys are chatting with each other here. Do you use sal de Gizano or with an orange or any bug flavored salts? I do when I'm drinking mezcal. I got a whole bunch of mezcal, and I do love to have orange and the sal de Gizano, the salt made from crickets, and I do enjoy that. It is, I think it enhances the flavor profile more of a mezcal than it does of a tequila. Tequila, I just drink it neat, sip it neat and straight, and that's it. It's, and sometimes, if I do have a good extra meal, I may have some chocolate with it. Or if I have a snack, I like nachos or nuts with it. But that's basically it. Normally, when I'm sitting here at the desk working, and I'm sipping tequila here without any food going with it. Hello from Canada, and have you done a video on Revolucion tequila? I have not done anything on Revolucion yet, but when I do get some, I'll do it. There's so many tequilas out there to do, and there's so little time to try to get these reviews done, but I'm trying to get them cranked out for you guys as often as I can. I do have brands sending me tequilas to do reviews on, so I've got some good stuff coming up for you guys that I'll be reviewing. And, I haven't tried them yet, so I don't know if it's going to be a positive review or a bad review. And I make sure I tell the brands when they send me the stuff that they're going to get an honest, unbiased opinion. So, don't be offended when I do the review and it's not something positive, because that's what happened with the Pura Vida. They, I guess, weren't very happy with the review I gave them because it really wasn't as good as it used to be and as good as it could be. But I was still nice. I wasn't really nasty with it. What are your thoughts on Patron Extra Añejo? My thoughts on it is that it's super expensive, and I'd rather buy other things than that. The only Patron line I really would buy, and it's still on the pricey side, is the Roca line. I do have this single estate Blanco, and that's not bad. I'll be reviewing that. I've got some Roca reviews coming up too, so make sure you watch those, and I'll give you some information on the Roca Patron line. Do you know where I can find Pasote in Southern California? I went to La Bodega Riverside, but they did not have. La Bodega doesn't have Pasote, but you can get it at High Times in Costa Mesa, High Time Wine Cellars. They have it. There's a bunch of places out here that, if you're out here in the Inland Empire, I even think, what's the name of that place that, Liquorama. I think Liquorama has it. And I'm trying to think if Total Wine has it or not. I don't remember if I've seen it at Total Wine or not. But there's a bunch of liquor stores out here that have Pasote. It's all over the place. I can ask if you go into Liquorama or into La Bodega and ask Mike or Nasser there if they can order Pasote for you. They'll order it for you. So if you want it, you can ask him. They know where to order it from. If not, you can tell them Wine Warehouse carries it. That's their distributor, and they can order it directly from Wine Warehouse, and they'll get it to you within. Normally, it's a few days. All right, so next question. Have you ever mixed or ever heard of someone mixing two different brands of Blanco together to try and create a different profile? Well, actually, not two different brands of Blanco, but what sometimes I do is I will take like an extra añejo and a high proof Blanco and mix them together to make a Joven. And those turn out really good. Like I've got several bottles of the 42, 43A Fortaleza, and I'll mix that with the still strength Fortaleza. I do a 1-to-1 mix. So an ounce to an ounce, and it really brings out the flavor profile of the extra aging in the barrel on it and really increases the depth of flavor. So if you ever have an extra añejo and you have a high proof Blanco, you can even mix different brands. Try mixing them together and making what's called a Joven. Whenever you mix a Blanco with an aged expression, it's called a Joven. You can try making that and sipping it and seeing what kind of experience you get. It's always fun to experiment and stuff like that. Do you think still around from some collectors who buy cases of Fortaleza Lot 42A to buy it? Now, I don't buy from anybody that sells anything aftermarket price like that. They gouge you like crazy. And what happens is when you buy from them, you actually encourage them to hoard when the special stuff comes out. And so you'll see them like with the winter blend, people were buying cases and cases of it, and they keep it until you can't find it anymore, and then they start selling it for 2 to 3 times what they paid for it. And I think that's wrong. I think everybody that wants to get some should be able to get it, and maybe buy a bottle or two at the most. But buying several cases of something and hoarding it, I don't necessarily agree with that. I want people to be able to experience the good tequila and try it, and that's one of the reasons why I do the collective, because I can bring stuff to people. Hope that makes sense. When I was in Merida, Mexico, I had smooth mezcal with cannabis infused in it. Okay. Let's not get on a cannabis subject here. This isn't a cannabis. This is tequila. Hola from Washington, Hola, Abel. Do you know anything about agave shortages? What effect will it affect stock this year? Well, it affects stock every year, but there was an interesting article that was posted into the Tequila Talk group today, where they're interviewing Jake Lustig, who will be here, and you guys can talk to him about agave shortages. I'm sure he would love to answer questions. He's going to be here Wednesday for my live stream for Happy Hour with the Hombre. He's the creator of the Artenome Selección line, as well as Don Amato Mezcal. Very knowledgeable tequila guy. He's going to be a great guest. So you have questions about the shortages, I recommend talking to him about it. He's experienced that stuff firsthand. But it is going to drive prices up because the prices of agave keep going up. But, we have all these diffuser companies out there, and everyone wonders, well, why are you always picking on diffusers? It's because with diffusers, they can actually use young agave, 2.5, 3.5 year old agave to make tequila, and it's not ripe. It's not, hit its ripeness yet. And it affects what's available on the market for everybody else if they're pulling up full fields of immature agave. So he's going to be a great guest. You should come on Wednesday and ask him about the shortage. I'm sure he'll answer that and give you some insight into that as well. I have been to Baja Ensenada a few times, even to Husong's Cantina a few times. Have you ever tried the jug of Husong's Tequila? Any good or rot gut swill? It is there's additives in that, so it's very sweet. I have tried it. I'm not a fan, and I wouldn't spend your money on it. I hope that answers your question. All right. Just stumbled on your channel. My wife loves tequila, and I'm a bourbon drinker. What's good for a bourbon drink? Okay. There's a lot of good things for bourbon drinkers as far as tequila goes. Now with bourbon drinkers, I was a bourbon drinker previously. I was raised in Ohio, so I was right there next to Kentucky. So I started out with Kentucky bourbon, and moved on from there. When I came to tequila, I enjoyed the extra añejos because it was similar bourbon profile and the añejos. And then I moved gently into blancos, where I learned about how a blanco can express itself and all the wonderful flavors you can get from a blanco. So I would pick up a nice extra añejo, some good ones to, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on them right now. A good one to get would be Don Abraham. That's very reasonably priced extra añejo. It's very well made, good quality. If you want to try something that's a little on the sweeter side, naturally sweet, no additives, the Casa San Matias Gran Reserva extra añejo is my go-to on the budget side of things. You can try that. There's a bunch of different extra añejo options out there, and you can find them for all different price ranges. So let me, if you find something, comment on the channel. Let me know what you found and what you think, and then based on what you liked and what you tried, I can kind of gear you towards more other stuff that's more similar to the stuff that you enjoy. All right, Oklahoman's got to go. It's dinner time. Thanks for coming by, Oklahoman. Appreciate you supporting the channel and being here. What do I think of Santo? Actually, I think the Santo Fino Blanco is the best celebrity tequila there is right now out there. So if you want to buy a celebrity tequila brand, buy the Santo Fino Blanco. It is my favorite celebrity brand. It's solid. It's good. And the Nunez family does a great job with their distillery out there. They make good tequila. So it's not bad at all. I enjoy it. All right, what time on Wednesday? Art Nam is a big fave. It's Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the country, it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Was it 7 Central, 8 or 7? I don't know where the time zones are right now. It's 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I tried G4 Blanco for the first time. Wow. Thanks to seeing you. Awesome. Yeah, I love G4 Blanco, and I would recommend that to anybody to try. It's got a fantastic flavor profile to it. I'm getting into tequilas and still find initial tasting, no matter the brand or price range, is still a bit harsh for the most part. Does that get easier with time? Well, yeah, you have to understand, you got to prep your mouth for tequila before you start sipping it. Your first sip's always going to be the harshest because you have to get your gums and your inside of your mouth and stuff ready for 40% alcohol. So I always just discount the first sip. I never judge anything on the first sip. When I do my reviews and you see me doing the sips on there, I normally have already tasted it right before I film that tasting segment, just to get my mouth ready for it. And then once you do that, it opens up your taste buds. You're able to sense more. You never want to judge something on the first sip. Just give it a sec for your mouth to get used to the 40% alcohol. Can you recommend a good margarita mixer for 25? I'll tell you what, don't use a mixer. Just Tommy's margaritas are the best. All you need is lime and agave nectar and a Blanco tequila, and that's it. That's it. You don't need to buy a mixer. Just get some limes, and you use what is it? I don't remember the exact mixture. I think it's a ounce of tequila, half ounce of lime juice, and a teaspoon of agave nectar, I believe. You can look it up. If you Google Tommy's margarita recipe online, you can find out the mix for it, the ratios for it. But I do Tommy's margaritas. I don't use mix. Cascanes is from the same distillery from Antanasio. Have you tried it? Have I tried Antanasio? Not yet. They're sending me some, so I will be trying it. I do have Cascanes. I've had the Blanco and the extra añejo so far, and I did a tasting of they're coming out with a Altos version of their Blanco, and I had the CEO over here, and he brought a bottle, and we did a tasting of it. So you'll see that when it comes out. Was Cuervo tequila ever good? Why do bad tequilas have large market shares? Cuervo tequila, well, the Reserva de Familia was good at one point, and they're actually some of it, like the Centenario and stuff was good. It wasn't until they got the diffuser that started going downhill, because diffusers really can't produce good quality tequila. I've yet to taste a good quality tequila that comes out of a diffuser, but they do that because they're able to get more for less. So it's cheaper for them to use a diffuser to make the tequila, and then they can sell it at a lower price, and then and they sell more of it than producing the more expensive stuff. I hope that makes sense. All right, is there any tequila with a heavy smoke presence similar to Islay Scotch? Try the Siembra Valles Ancestral. It's made in a in-ground pit where they cook the agave like mezcal, so it'll have a smokier flavor profile to it. I know Patron did a smoke thing too, but I mean, really, if you want heavy smoke presence, go with the mezcal. There's some mezcals out there with really nice smoke presence and really interesting flavor profiles. But Patron smoke is one, and then the Siembra Valles Ancestral is smoky, and you might enjoy that. All right, Oklahomans sharing stuff with people. What can you tell me about Fuente Seca Cosecha 2018? My wife bought it for me during Christmas. It's actually, I haven't tried it yet, but the 2013 is very good. So I'm looking forward to trying the 2018. On Wednesday, Jake works for the company that imports that. So you can ask him about the Fuente Seca Cosecha, and he can give you all the details on that. I could message him and ask him, but I'd have to get you an answer later. That's what I normally do. When people have questions I don't know the answer to, I normally will just send a note out to whoever it is that makes it or imports it, and I get the details and stuff from them. What is your opinion of El Tesoro single barrel? I think it's pretty complex. Definitely a step up from the regular Reposado. I also love the Extra Añejo. Have you tried the Siete Leguas Extra Añejo? Yes, I've tried all the Siete Leguas tequilas. I've been to the distillery. I sampled everything through. And they even have, if you're ever in Mexico and want to try something really good, it's expensive, but it's really good. The Siete Leguas single barrel, they don't import it into the U.S. It's only available in Mexico. It'll run you about $160, $180 there in Mexico, but it is really good. So that's one special thing from Siete Leguas. I have had the El Tesoro. I've had everything from El Tesoro. I've had their single barrel. We're actually going to be doing a single barrel for the Tequila Barrel Collective as well. We'll do our own pick, and I'm working things out with them now where they'll send me the samples to select what barrel we're going to do. But that's something that's in the works as well. I have all kinds of El Tesoro. It's one of my top brands. And right over here, you can see these blue boxes here, right here. Those are all Extra Neo El Tesoros. So yeah, I do enjoy El Tesoro. I bought a 50 milliliter of Don Romeo tequila. Have you tried it? I'm going to try it later tonight. I have not had Don Romeo, so let us know what you think. Hey man, I've really been diving into tequila the past few weeks, and have you helped me open my palate to it more? Oh, great! I'm glad the channel's helping. I'm glad that you enjoy the videos, and if you notice, if you comment on the videos, I do pay attention to them, and I'll try to answer any questions you have or give you suggestions when you want them. Yeah, the Luma Humita. I don't know what Luma Humita is, but Patron Smoky is one of the ones I was talking about. Life's too short to sip a cheap tequila. Well, no, there's actually some really nice cheap tequilas out there. It's just life's too short to sip bad tequila. Has nothing to do with price. I want to try mezcal. What do you recommend for first time? Okay, that is a very good question. The flavor profiles of them can be very interesting and unique depending on which ones you buy. So some of the ones I recommend, Burrito Fiestero makes a really nice artisanal. It's very inexpensive. That's one I recommend. The flavor profile is very light on smoke, really nice flavor profile. They use a Cenizo agave for it, which is very fruity, and it's very light and engaging. It's good. Also, Los Vecinos del Campo makes a really nice espadín that's not very heavy on the smoke, really fruity. I've referred other friends of mine that were transitioning from tequila into mezcal, but didn't want a lot of smoke. They enjoyed that as well. There's another one that you can buy from Old Town. It's called Local, and it's actually what's called a fruit pachuga, where they put pears and peaches and fruit into the distillate for the second distillation. And it has a really nice fruity flavor profile to it. Very little smoke, and it's very a really nice, and it's fairly inexpensive. I think it's like $30-something on Old Town Tequila. I recommend trying one of those as your first. Don't jump into some of the more robust flavor profiles because they may turn you off. Like I made the mistake of doing that when I tried my first mezcal. I thought it tasted like licking a burnt truck tire, and it turned me off. And it wasn't until friends said, "Hey, don't judge all mezcal on the one that you had. There's a lot of them out there that are different," and it's true. So I recommend those. Even Derumbus San Luis Potosi is a really nice one. You could try that as well. It's got a really interesting flavor profile to it. Very light on smoke. It's very good for beginning mezcal drinkers. I really enjoy 1800 Añejo. Is there anything that's non-additive that tastes like it? I'm not a big 1800 person, so for me to say, oh, this tastes like it, I wouldn't know. But as far as añejos go, there's a lot of really nice añejos out there. The Fortaleza Añejo is good. The G4 Añejo is good. You got Siete Leguas Añejo is my favorite of the Siete Leguas line. There's a lot of really good añejos out there. Even Viva Mexico you can get for a really inexpensive price, and the añejo there is really good. I think Sergio Cruz does a really good job over at 1414. Hombre, is it possible to order large containers of tequila for manufacturers? 5 gallons, for instance, with tequila prices, a bottle a week gets expensive. Unfortunately, no, because you can only import, the largest I think that you can import into the U.S. is 1.75 liters, I believe, is the most that you can import into the U.S. So you won't find anything, above that. Most of them you see are liter bottles and 750 milliliter bottles. So there's a limit. I think it was 1.75 liters. I'll have to double check. But yeah, no, you can't buy anything that big. What I recommend doing is just finding stuff that's inexpensive, as your everyday daily sipper if you're drinking that much tequila. And there's a lot of good budget brands out there. And I'm going to be doing a video on a budget brand tonight that'll be posted tomorrow. Make sure you check it out. You can pick up that. I'm arranging for to make it accessible to everybody across the continental United States. You received 100. Great. I received 100 messages today. Thanks, guys. I have 70th never opened, waiting for a special day. The El Tesoro 70th anniversary. That's a really nice one. I have one on the shelf as well, like right over here, I think. That's a great bottle. The El Tesoro 70th is fantastic. Have you been on the tequila train? No, I haven't been on the tequila train. I try to avoid the touristy stuff when I go. A lot of times when I go to Mexico, I've got invites to the distilleries. So I have already arranged for people to drive me and to pick me up and to meet me at places. And so I won't jump on the tequila train. Plus, I mean, if it's all you're drinking is Cuervo on the Cuervo train, or the Herradura has their train too, I'm not big fans of those. So I wouldn't want to be sitting on the trains looking to drink their tequila. Are there plans in the works to organize a group trip to visit the distilleries? Yes. I know the whole pandemic is still going on, but yes, it is an idea for the future. When I go on my next trip, I was going to start talking to the distilleries about putting together a group trip. It's going to be a select group. It's going to be small. I don't want anything to happen that could jeopardize my relationships with these distilleries and with the master distiller. So we're not going to do anything really big and crazy. But I am looking to put together a group trip where we'll bring a bunch of people with us to tour the distilleries and meet the master distillers and get to learn about Guadalajara and tequila and Arandas and all that stuff. And we'll hit all multiple areas, multiple distilleries. It'll be fun. Okay. So I'm going to work on putting it together over the next year. Yeah, it's safe. It's definitely safe to go to tequila. I've never had any problems. And the advice for the first time is to with some people that have been before to take you around, or if you know somebody there, have somebody there pick you up and take you around. Transportation's the hard part. You don't want to drive yourself, and Uber only stays within the Guadalajara area. They won't take you out to Tequila or up to Arandas. You have to have a driver or somebody that can drive you. And I don't recommend renting a car there and trying to drive yourself unless you know what you're doing, because you could end up in some serious trouble. All right, Coa de Hima is good, cheap tequila, 25, 30. Okay, good. Yeah, I haven't tried Coa de Hima. I wouldn't know about that. Any Soto recommendations? Yeah, Clande Soto. Clande is really good, and also Higura is really good as well. But those two are Sotos that I enjoy. I've got them on my shelf here. La Higura and Clande are two I recommend checking out. And Clande's got several different expressions that you can look at as well. I'm a big fan of Clande. Have you had Fino Tequila, a woman-owned company based in? No, I've heard about. Somebody asked me about that. It's but if they send me some, I'll do a review of it and check it out. Have you tried Tears of Llorona? And for that price point, would you recommend something different? Well, I have tried Tears of Llorona, and I have a review on the channel of it. You can actually see my review. If you've never tried it before, I recommend picking up a bottle. I can get it here for around $199. It is a very good extra añejo. It features a lot of other alcohol flavors in it, which is good if you like, cognac or was it brandy, scotch, and I want to say brandy, scotch, and cognac, I think, or I forgot what the third one is off the top of my head. But yeah, it's very rich in those other alcohols, and I don't pick up a whole lot of agave coming through on it, where I like the agave to come through on an extra añejo, because I really love the agave presence. But it is an enjoyable sipper. I love smoking a cigar with that one. So a lot of times when I go have Tears of Llorona, I'll sit in the backyard and have a nice cigar with it. There's other things that I recommend at that price point, or something different. Well, have you tried Tapatio Excelencia? I actually prefer that one over Tears, and it's a lot less expensive. If you haven't tried Excelencia, try that one. That was my favorite extra añejo until I ran into this Cascanas that I'm doing the buy for. Is there a way to bring up a 60 liters if you're not a California resident? I'm sure there's a way, but whether it's legal or not is a whole different story. You got to know your state guidelines. Even here in California, I got detained for bringing 16 bottles up and harassed for a good hour and a half, 2 hours by the customs people until they finally released me. But they kept telling me I was only allowed 1 liter because that's federal regulations. But the state of California allows 60 liters. So, I had to sit there and show them the proof and argue with them. And, I flew a late flight coming in from Guadalajara into the airport here. So I wasn't in a very good mood to start anyways, because I just want to go home and go to sleep. But you can get harassed for bringing anything in. So, just know your state guidelines and try to stick to guidelines, and make sure you claim it on your customs form when you're coming back in. Otherwise, you could get in some serious trouble. Check the alcohol laws from there you go. Dying wish, only to drink one last copita. What are you asking them to pour for you? My dying wish for one last tequila before I die. What would I ask them to pour for me? Interesting. That's a tough one. I'd probably be this Cascanas Extra Añejo, because the thing's freaking good. It is so good. I literally called up the CEO of the brand and said, "Are you eating me?" All right, let me see. Hombre, to beat the high pricing, I follow local store sales and stock up El Tesoro Blanco for $34.99. For instance, has to be purchased. Absolutely, I always purchase several bottles, and I when it goes on sale, and I stock up, and I do face some harsh criticism for that.
Why'd you spend $100 on tequila?
Stuff like that, where it's like, well, honey, it was on sale. What am I supposed to do with it? And I do. And then also, when you place orders online, one tip I always try to tell people: don't ever buy one bottle online. Buy multiple bottles, because the shipping is going to jack the pricing of that bottle up so high. It's like, when I do stuff with the collective, they go, "Oh, I'll take a bottle from the collective," and it's like, well, it's $30. Like the G4 108 proof, the retailer that was set up for us had a $30 flat shipping fee, and it's like, okay, you tack $30 onto the price of the bottle, it's going to be, makes it a lot more expensive. You buy 3 or 4 bottles or 5, or buy a case, 6 bottles, you split it at $30. That's only $5 to ship for each bottle. It makes it a lot more economically feasible. So I recommend too, when you go buying online, pick out multiple bottles to buy, and place your order when you're ready to buy multiple bottles to offset the shipping. My wife discovered she likes tequila too, so nice. I'm waiting for my wife to discover that. She's a wine drinker, so I'm waiting for her to discover tequila, and then she can help me drink some of this here. Is Avion the same as Patron? No, it's not. It's not the same. It's made at a completely different distillery. It's made at Producto Fino. It is not the same as Patron or 1800. All these people that say, "Oh, it's just Patron," it's not. Even Casamigos is not Patron or 1800. It's not even touched by Cuervo unless they buy diffuser stuff from Cuervo, which could be possible, or they could buy it from other diffuser distilleries, source it from other diffuser distilleries. But it is not the same as Patron and 1800. 1800 is separate. Patron is separate. Two different distilleries, 2 different processes. 1800, I wouldn't doubt if it's using diffused juice for that. Distilling process wise, well, distilling is is interesting science behind distilling, where basically you take your fermented mosto, your dead mosto, and you put it in a still and you heat it up, and what happens is alcohol evaporates at a lot lower temperature than water does. Normally, like around 165, 170 degrees is when alcohol will start to evaporate. So when you run the still, you're heating it up to the point where you start getting the alcohol to distill. And normally the first kind of alcohol, the one that distills the earliest, is methanol. So that is what you'll find in the heads on your run. There's heads, there's hearts, and then there's tails in a run. So you discard the heads normally because it has methanol in it. Now, people always say, well, you'll go blind and stuff. There's not enough methanol in the heads to cause you to go blind. If you left the methanol in, it may give you a slight headache at the most. That's it. The whole blind thing came from bootleggers that were taking bourbon and moonshine, and they were adding methanol to it to extend the size of the batch so they can make more money. And they were putting higher quantities of methanol in it. And that's what caused people to go blind. It wasn't the actual moonshine that was being made. It was the bootleggers that were adding methanol to it. So you get your alcohol to evaporate. And what happens is it travels. Now there's multiple kinds of stills that they use. There's pot stills. There's column stills. So with a pot still, it's a shorter still. So those alcohol vapors will rise up to the top of the still, and they go into what's called a coil. And the coil goes into a condenser that will then turn the vapor back in, cools it back down into alcohol, and then it drips out of the condenser, and that's what they catch it in the liquid form. So as you progress through, you go through the hearts. The hearts is where you really want to pull most of your distillate from, because that's like the purest, best quality alcohol that's coming through. And then the tails will also have methanol in it as well, and it can add off flavors to it. And like cardboard, wet cardboard, and stuff like that can come from the tail. Some funky flavors. So normally, they try to pull from the heads, but what some distillers will do is they'll go deeper into the tails because it creates a larger size batch for them, and it makes it so they can have more to sell and make more money on it. So that's basically the distilling process in a nutshell. And so what happens is they'll distill it off first. When you see on my videos, I say it's twice distilled. They'll distill it off at a lower proof first, and then they put that back in the still, and then they distill it again so they get the higher proof, and it cleans up the distillate. It gets some of the stuff that may be in the water that does evaporate with the alcohol, and it cleans up the distillate for you. Now in a column still, it works kind of different. In a column still, the higher you go on the tower, the more pure your alcohol is going to be. So when you hear column stills being vodka stills, what that basically means is as your vapor rises in a column still, it actually will start cooling before it hits the top of the still when it gets higher up in it. And so when it cools like that, it actually will turn back the liquid and drop back down into the fermented, the stuff inside the still. So, and that what that does is it cleanses it, and it causes it to be more pure, and it makes it so it's more alcohol. When you run a vodka still, you can pull out very, very, very high proof alcohol out of it, because of how high it is, and how you run it. If you put copper in the still, it'll hit the copper, and that'll cause it to even come out at a higher proof. I ran a column still once at a friend's distillery as a test batch that we did, where I took some agave nectar and fermented it and tried to make a tequila with it, and we produced 190 proof distillate out of it, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So I hope that gives you some insight on the distilling process. I can do an episode on that because distillation is really cool. It's a fun science. All right. Do you like any tequilas that are not produced in Jalisco? I used to be a big fan of Corralejo, but it seems the quality has gone down. There is few of them that are done. What was the name? I can tell you the name of the one that I liked. It was Hacienda de what is it? I'll have to look it up, and let me see. Trying to remember the name of that tequila. It's actually really good. No, I'll have to look it up and get back to you. It was really good. It was made at a distillery outside of Jalisco, and it was one that I really enjoyed. And I just saw, I think it's just starting to make its way into the US. So I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll do a review on it. It's actually really good. Where are we now? We're down to Fortaleza follows Fino, so I'm quite intrigued. Though I'm sure they follow. So they follow everybody. It doesn't mean that it's a good quality brand. I mean, there's people following all kinds of people. Do you recommend a few nom numbers? Well, 1579 is really good. I mean, there's a bunch of good noms. It all depends on what you're looking for. You can go on to Tequila Matchmaker and just look for brands and see what noms they're with, and then most of the time, if it's like Carlos Camarena La Alteña, he's got 2 noms out of there. But anything that comes out of La Alteña is solid. Same with 1579, which is Felipe El Pendillo. Besides Old Town Tequila, what other line stores would you recommend? I like out of Glendale. It is oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name. My old age. I'm turning senile. Crap. I could let you know, but Old Town is good. I like High Time Cellars better. In California, Mission is good. K&L is good. Remedy in Glendale. Remedy was the one I was trying to think of. Remedy is a good one. They ship nationwide, and I like the pricing that they have, and they have a good selection. So check out Remedy. Can you explain the difference between Highland versus Valley Agave? Yeah. One is made from tequila that is grown in the Los Altos region, and one is tequila that's grown in the Valle region, the lower region. Flavor profiles change between them because the agave in the Highland has to fight harder for water and faces lower temperatures. So they have a tendency of getting bigger, sweeter. They have more of a sweeter, fruitier flavor profile, in my opinion. The Valley ones are smaller. They have abundance of water, really good quality water that they draw from, and they have more of an earthy, mineral type of flavor profile. So that's basically the difference between the two. I tend to lean more towards the Los Altos agave. Do you think Patron stores picks are solid purchase or just average? I've had a couple picks, and actually I enjoy the picks better than I enjoyed the regular brand. So I think they're okay. Out of all the Blanco tequilas you've tried besides G4 or high proof tequilas, what place would you give to Calle 23 Criollo? The Criollo right now would be my number 2 high proof Blanco, right below the G4 108 proof. I love the Criollo. It's such a complex flavor profile. What are some good tequilas from other 4 states other than Jalisco? Okay, I've got a couple of them that here, let me look up. There's no other questions here, so let me look up this one that I was trying to remember. And I get you the name of this one. It's really good. Yeah, it's Hacienda Sahuayo. It's Sahuayo. It is really good. I had it when I was in Mexico. A friend of mine too across the street got a bottle from a friend of his whose brother was the owner of it. It comes out of NOM 1515, which is Compañía Tequilera Hacienda Sahuayo, and it is in Michoacan. So it's outside the state of Jalisco. So that is a solid one. If you can find it, pick it up. I'm sure there's some few places. I think Old Town picks it up. So I think Old Town might even have it. If you want to try it, it's a solid brand. I recommend it. That's out of Michoacan. All right. Is that it? Is that all we have? Well, I think that is it, guys. We're looking at what, 5:14. We've done an hour and 14 minutes. That is going to be it for today, guys. Thanks so much for coming out. Hopefully you enjoyed everything, answered your questions, and we'll do this again next week. We'll do it every week. So if you have more questions, things you want to know, let me know. And until next time, we heard that some tequila brands sold in Mexico can taste different than ones sold in the USA. Is that true? I answer this one last question. I haven't heard that it's they taste different, but they're Mexico lower proof. They go at 38%, between 35 to 38%. They do have some 40%, but because the limit here in the US is 40%, they are higher proof, and so they can be a lot more robust on the flavor profile. So that would be the only difference. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming out and asking questions. I love being able to answer your questions real time versus having to look online on the YouTube to answer. Make sure you check out this review that I'm doing tomorrow for the budget brand. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to get in on some of the great buys, I've got a really good buy I'm working on right now. And I'll give you a little tip where it's from. Gascoigne. So check out tequilabarrelcollective.com. Sign up on the to join. It's free. You'll get an email from me on the updates on the buys, and then you can just say, hey, I want to get in on it. You do. I don't make any money on it. The retailer takes all the money. They ship it directly to you. We get some great stuff. I got some good stuff in the works. So hopefully you can come and join us for the Tequila Barrel Collective. Don't forget to check out Tequila Talk 2 on Facebook if you're not a member there as well. And until next time, like I always say, guys, life is too short to drink Bad tequila. Salute. Bye. We'll see you Wednesday.